Hi y'all, I'm Chase. This is my 2013 Dyna Fat Bob with a 103, affectionately known as Mary Jane now. I've been breaking these tires in. These are the Marathon Ultras, Metzeler's ME888s. And I wanted to point out something. This has 400 miles on it now. I just checked. It's like 4 miles shy of 400 miles. Now, the thing is, it still has the nubs on it. Right there. Right here. I mean, these nubs, they are just not coming off easy. This is taking some serious braking time. 400 miles, and they're still, those little nubs are still on there. You can tell, maybe the sidewalls, they look like they're wearing off a little bit quicker. I think it's because the sidewalls are quite a bit softer than the center. The center is, man, it must be like hockey puck rubber. We're going to get the bike out today and get on the road. But I thought I'd give an update on the Metzeler ME888s and their break-in time, just to break them in, just to get them where they're rolling okay and they feel good.
All right, we're back. We did take a look at the tires, at least the front one. The back one is pretty broken. It doesn't have any of those little nubs on it. The front still is not broken in, so that is some pretty hard rubber. But on top of that, I think we're going to talk about Harley's going to be probably getting rid of their air-cooled motors at some point. They have that new RevMax, and judging by the CCs, how many horsepower per CCs they're getting, I mean, it's 150 on that. What is that? Pan America. 150 horsepower, 94 foot-pounds of torque. Guy on a scooter. But anyways, judging from that, you know, the horsepower and torque to CCs, if they move up to, say, the same size that Indian's using for their Challenger, I don't know if it scales up exactly the same, but it looks like if you scaled up to 1700 or so CC, or 103, 104 cubic inch, somewhere around there, motor like what's in, you know, Mary Jane here, with that RevMax, you'd be at 130 foot-pounds of torque and over 200 horsepower. If it scales up directly the same as, you know, per cc, and that would be insane. I'm pretty sure that would be pretty awesome. If they come out with a motor like that and say put it in a bike, oh, I don't know, the size of this Dyna, that would be something. Even in a road glide size bike, a touring bike, I mean, that is a lot of horsepower and torque. I, for one, would welcome that. I think that's why, if Harley does move forward with a larger big bore RevMax, you know, like a 1700 cc version. I mean, I think my bike's 1690, I think. That's what 103 is. I can't remember. I think it's 1690. It's not quite 1700. But it's close. So, and I did the math. The cc to horsepower ratio on the RevMax and the torque to cc ratio on the RevMax, and if it scales up the way that, you know, per cc, as well, I'm hoping it would, that would be, I think it was 212 horsepower and like 132 foot-pounds of torque, and that would be insane. And not only that, but because it's air cooled, or instead of being air cooled, it's liquid cooled, the fuel economy would be outrageously good too. So now that might get me to buy another Harley. I did see that they're coming out with other Sportsters, and that would be cool and everything, except for it's not a big enough bike. It's too small for what I want to do with it. I don't find the lowriders or the Softails in general to be great for travel. I mean, there is the Sport Glide, but I'd literally have to get a new windshield for it, or a Road Warrior fairing, which I already have for this. And working on it is, well, everything's buried. And I took them for a test ride, and I didn't feel much difference in how much horsepower and torque they had. I mean, yeah, they had a little bit more, but the handling, yeah, it didn't soak up the bumps as well as this Dyna does, so. But yeah, I think I would really like to see a liquid cooled like Road Glide or Street Glide with a big bore RevMax in it. That would be something. And if it can put out over 200 horse and over 130 foot-pounds of torque, that would be quite the coup. It would be a monster. And that's going to be before, you know, anybody does any upgrades to it, you know, like just you know, air cleaner and exhaust. So now granted, it looks like those RevMaxes lose about 14% through the transmission on horsepower and torque. So 14%, I think that knocked it down to 130 horsepower and 79 foot-pounds of torque on the 1250. So yeah, you're going to lose some, but it would still be somewhere in probably the 170s at least, and probably at least 100 foot-pounds of torque or more, that actual, you know, to the wheel. So that would be something that I would be very, very interested in. The fact that it's going to run a lot cooler too, that would be great. I'm really into that. This twin cam does run pretty warm. Let me know down in the comments what you'd prefer. I mean, right now Harley's probably on the bleeding edge of what an air-cooled motor can do, and technically the new motor isn't just air-cooled. It is oil radiator to liquid cooled. I don't even know what you want to call it, but it's more like twin cooled than the old air cooled ones. Like mine is strictly air cooled. That is more like the twin cooled motors, where it's got an oil cooler on the front too. So, but they look like they're on about the bleeding edge of what you can do with an air cooled motor right now. I mean, it's just the way things are. And I know everybody thinks electric's the future, but electric sucks, at least for range. I mean, yeah, maybe you can go 100, 200 miles if you put enough batteries in a bagger. Problem is, when you get there, that 100 to 200 miles, you're gonna have to charge the bike. And stuff like that takes who knows how long. 3, 4, 5 hours, maybe even a whole day. So I'm not sure if that's really a feasible kind of, I don't know, idea right now. So, but I'm not against liquid cooled motors. I mean, I've had an Aprilia, I've had a Kawasaki. They were both, you know, liquid cooled. I do like Harley's, mostly the air cooled motors, because they are easy to work on. Easier. And I do like naked bikes, and I mean true naked bikes, because they're, you know, a little bit easier to get to stuff. So, I think that's going to be all for this video. Like, comment, subscribe, click that ding-a-ling if you want to be notified of any new content I drop. Bye, y'all.